Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture on reasoning ability and problem solving. In today's lecture, we will discuss some exercises, questions from assumptions and statements. So let us begin. Now, in the previous lectures, we discussed that there are four types of questions that can come in your competitive exams from assumptions and statements. Type 1 was identifying assumption. Type 2 was strengthening and weakening arguments. Strengthening means arguments that support the statement, and weakening means the arguments that undermine the statements, correct? So, these two we have already discussed in detail in the previous lecture. In today's lecture, we will discuss type 3, that is course of action, and type 4, that is statement and conclusions. So, type 3 course of actions, this is also known as decision making. This is also known as decision making. Basically, we are given a statement which is a problem, sort of problem, and then we are given certain course of action. So, we have to decide what would be the appropriate response to the above problem. What would be the appropriate response to the above problem? This is the gist of course of action. Then we have type 4, that is statements and conclusions. So as the name suggests, we are given a statement from which we have to derive a conclusion. We have to tell which conclusion can be derived from this statement. Okay, so we will discuss these two types in detail in today's lecture. So let us start with type 3. Type 3 is course of action, also known as decision making. So let us read the directions. In each question below is given a statement followed by 2 or 3 courses of action. So they are numbered 1, 2 and 3. So each statement can have either 2 course of action or 3 course of action. Now what is a course of action? This is explained in this statement. A course of action is a step or administrative decision, so decision making, to be taken for improvement, follow-up or further action in regard to the problem, policy, etc. So basically it can be said that course of action is the appropriate response to a given problem. Appropriate solution, you can say. Appropriate solution to a given problem. Appropriate solution to a given problem. So we have to decide what should be the next step after the, based on the problem that is given in the question. Correct? This is what course of action means. On the basis of the information that is given in the statement, we have to assume everything in the statement to be true, and then we have to decide which of the suggested course of action logically follows for pursuing. So this is the entire process of solving questions on courses of action. So let us look at some questions. This is question number 1. A statement is given to us. Okay? Let us read the statement. Thousands of farmers in drought-hit western Madhya Pradesh have been protesting for over a week, demanding that authorities increase the minimum price for their crops and waive their bank loans. So there are thousands of farmers in western MP that are protesting because it is a drought-hit area. So because it is a drought-hit area, their crops would not be flourishing, right? So they want that the MSP or the minimum price for their crops to be increased, as well as their loans to be waived off. Waived off means to be forgotten. Basically, they want the banks to forget or to, let them not pay their bank loans, to waive off their bank loans. Madhya Pradesh is one of the several states that have suffered droughts and crop failures in recent years. So, it is given in the question only, it is given in the statement that Madhya Pradesh is one of the states that has been suffering from droughts. We have to decide which of the following courses of action will help to improve the current scenario. So, what should be the next step? What should be the appropriate solution to this problem? Appropriate solution to this problem. Okay. Let us look at the courses of action. The first one is government should punish those involved in the protest. Now, can this be a course of action? I don't think so. This is not a course of action. Why? Because we are not sure the protests are violent or not. The protest can be peaceful. It is not mentioned in the statement whether the protests are violent. So, if the protests are peaceful, why should the government punish? And it is mentioned in the statement that Madhya Pradesh is drought-hit area. So their problems are genuine. So government punishing the protesters does not make sense. So this is not the correct course of action. Second one says cloud seeding should be used in such situations. Again, cloud seeding, this is nothing to do with the statement. Cloud seeding is a process, but it has no relevance with the original statement. So this is a vague statement of sort. This is a vague statement, so this cannot be an appropriate response. Okay. Third one says government should constitute a team to assess the severity of drought, convinced that appropriate compensation will be paid. So this, according to me, will be the correct course of action. Why? Because this particular statement is saying that government will constitute a team, they will assess the problem first, and based on that assessment they will convince the protesters that they will get appropriate compensation. So neither they are waiving off the loan as it is, but they are basically promising the protesters that they will be compensated. So this would be the correct course of action, the logical course of action. So answer will be only 3, and only 3 is given in option number 3. So option number 3 will be the correct answer to this question. Okay, so here is the solution. Okay, question number 2. Question number 2 statement says the Weather Bureau has, through a recent bulletin, forecast heavy rainfall during the next week, which may cause waterlogging in several parts of the city. So there is a Weather Bureau that has basically brought out this news that heavy rainfall is forecasted for the next week, and this heavy rainfall may cause waterlogging in several parts of the city. We have to decide which of them will be the correct course of action, the appropriate course of action. The first one is that the bulletin should be given wide publicity through the mass media. Now, according to this statement, the popularity or the publicity of the bulletin does not make any sense, because we don't know whether this Weather Bureau is already popular or not. If it is not popular, this kind of information, the forecast of weather, can be made available to the public by other news channels also. So specific step to make this public or to give this wide publicity does not make sense. So this cannot be a correct course of action. Okay. Second one says the civic authority should keep in readiness the pumping system for removal of water from these parts. So this is definitely a correct course of action. Since it is predicted that waterlogging will happen in several parts of the city, it makes sense that the civic authority will already be, will be ready with the pumping systems in case waterlogging happens. So this would be a correct course of action. Third one says the people should be advised to stay indoors during this period. Definitely. This also is a correct course of actions. Since heavy rainfall is predicted, it is advisable for people to stay indoors. So this should be added in the advisory. So both 2 and 3 are correct courses of action according to me. Let us look at the options. Option number 4 says 2 and 3 follow. This will be the correct answer, because pumping systems are also required and people should be advised to stay indoors. So option number 4 will be the correct answer. Okay. Question number 3. Question number 3, the statement says it has been reported that water level is declining rapidly in many cities, causing water crisis. So there has been a report that says that water level is continually declining in many cities, and this is causing water crisis or water shortage, right? We have to determine which of them will be the appropriate course of action. The first one is misuse of water should be banned in these cities. Now see, misuse of water should be banned. Again, we don't know whether people are misusing the water or not. This is a unnecessary statement. This holds no relevance. This holds no relevance with respect to the original statement. With respect to the original statement. And how will you ban misuse of water? How can one ban misuse of water? People are using water inside their homes. There is no way that you can keep surveillance inside somebody's home to see whether they are wasting water or not. So such step is not feasible. How can a government impose ban on misusing of water? Because see, if a person is using 2 buckets, 3 buckets to take a bath, the government cannot keep surveillance on such things, right? That is misuse of water. So this is again an extreme step which is not feasible. This cannot be taken. So this is a incorrect course of action. Second one is an awareness drive should be launched to make the people aware of the problem. This makes sense because what we can do is we can aware people. We can tell people that you should not misuse water, but to keep a check on them is difficult. So what the government can do is basically to launch a awareness drive. This is possible. Therefore, option number 2 is a correct course of action. Third one says alternative methods should be explored to store rainwater. Definitely, if there is water shortage, we should use different methods to store rainwater. Rainwater harvesting. We should take these steps to preserve water. So, both 2 and 3 will be the correct courses of action. So, if I look at the options, option number 2 says that 2 and 3 follows. This will be the correct answer. Okay? This will be the correct answer. Question number 4. Question number 4 statement is given. A very large number of students have failed in the final high school examination due to faulty questions in one of the subjects. So, in a particular school or a college, a large number of students have failed the examination due to faulty questions in one of the subjects. So, there is a subject in which faulty questions were there, people could not solve it, and therefore a large number of students have failed the final examination. So, we have to decide what should be the correct course of action. Okay, we have to decide what should be the correct course of action. First is, all the students who have failed in the subject should be allowed to take supplementary examination. Definitely this is a correct course of action because see, the people who are failing the examination, the students, it is not their fault, right? If the faulty questions are there in the paper, it is not a student's fault. So they should be given a second chance to prove that they have studied for the examination. They should be given a second chance. So they should be given an opportunity to give a supplementary examination. So 1 will definitely be the correct course of action. Right? Now let us look at option number 2. Option number 2 is all those who are responsible for the error should be penalized and an inquiry should be initiated to find out the fact. So this is also correct because see, if a faulty questionnaire is there, it is not that you just make a questionnaire and it is directly given to the students. No, there is a whole process. Somebody will make the questionnaire, somebody will recheck it, then it is a whole 2 and 3 step process. Somebody will recheck the final work and then it is given to the students. So all the people who are involved in such a thing, involved in such a blunder, I would say, they should be penalized. Some sort of action should be taken away on them. So this should also be a correct course of response because we are penalizing the people who have made a mistake, as well as we are inquiring about why such things have happened. So both of them will be the correct course of action, right? If I look at the options, option number 4 will be the correct answer because the students should be given a second chance, as well as the people who are involved in such a blunder should be punished in some way or the other. Okay, so option number 4 will be the correct answer. Question number 5. Statement is given to us. Let us read the statement. Katrina is the human resource management head at company X. So Katrina is an employee, HR head in company X. Okay. She has received the monthly reports from all the departments in the compartment. So while going through the reports, it comes to her notice that the production in department G and department K have fallen by 1 lakh units and 1.5 lakh units. Okay, respectively. So department G, now understand the problem now. Department G, the production has fallen by how many units? Production has fallen by 1 lakh units, correct? It has fallen by 1 lakh units. And in department K, the production has fallen by how many units? 1,50,000 units. This has fallen down. Okay. Now, on further investigation, she concludes that the machineries in department G are breaking down more often because of being overused. So the reason for production being going down in department G is machine overuse. Okay, the machine are being overused and that is why they are breaking down. That is why they are breaking down. Machine are being overused and that is why they are breaking down, and hence the production has fallen. Right? While the machinery in department K is being underutilized. So the reason for department K production being going down is that machines are underutilized. That means not enough people are there to use the machine. Not enough people are there to use a machine. Therefore, the machines are underutilized. So let us understand the reasons. The reason for department G not doing good is that there are so many people and the machines are being overused. The reason for department K not being doing good is that machines are underutilized. There are not enough work done on these machines. Okay, so this is the problem. Now let us look at what would be the appropriate course of action. Now, course of action number 1. Katrina sends an email to the operations manager directing him to buy new machinery for department G with enough capacity to wear the workload. See, this is a correct course of action for department G. Okay, this is a correct course of action for department G, but it does not caters to department K problem, right? Department K's problem was that the machine are being underutilized. So this course of action is just focusing on department G but not on department K. So this cannot be a correct course of action, because we have to look at a course of action that gives benefit to both department G and department K, right? Let us look at the second one. The second one is Katrina sends an email to the operations manager informing him to transfer 10,000 workers from department G to department K. This will be the correct course of action because it caters to both department G and department K. So department G, the machines are being overutilized. So sending some people from department G to department K will make sure that the machines in department G are not overutilized, whereas the machines in department K are not underutilized. So answer will be that only 2 follows. This will be the correct course of action. Okay. Question number 6. Anjali lost her job during the lockdown and started providing tiffin services to the people who depended on restaurants for daily food. So Anjali is a person, she lost the job during COVID. Many people did, right? And what she did was she started providing tiffin services to people who relied on restaurants, right? Because of the app timing and identification of need, her business had hit the ground running. Hit the ground running means successful. Her business became successful because she was providing a service, tiffin service, which was very much needed during lockdown. Okay, the business flow is for over a year, but then as the lockdown opened, she saw a drastic reduction in demand for her tiffins. So during the COVID, during the lockdown, she was doing good. Her business was successful. But as soon as the lockdown opened up, she saw a reduction in demand. Okay. Anjali surveyed her customers and found out that the local restaurants were offering a similar meal at a lower cost than her. So, what was the reason for reduction in demand? The restaurants were supplying the same kind of meal in a lesser price. So, obviously, a customer will prefer taking their meals from there because of the cost. Because of the cost difference, Anjali lost her business, right? Because of the cost difference, Anjali lost her customers, basically not the business. The business was there but not as profitable as it was in the lockdown. Okay, we have to identify which of the following actions would help Anjali improve her business. So that we have to identify. Let us look at the courses of action. The first one is reduce the cost of her tiffins to get more customers, even if it means a little loss at the beginning. Now, this is not an appropriate course of action because why should she suffer a little loss? Can there be any other course of action through which she can get the customers back, but she does not have to bear the loss? That would be more preferable, right? Why should she bear loss to get the customers back? So, this is not an appropriate course of action. Second one is advertise to increase customer reach and extend her boundaries. Now see, she already had customers. So the problem was not about increasing the reach of the customers. She already had existing customers, but they were not buying from her anymore because her cost was high. So to advertise does not make any sense because she already has customers. She already knows people, right? Third one says come up with subscription and discount offers to allure customers without taking a significant loss. Now, this is a good course of action because in this course of action, she is not suffering losses. As at the same time, because of subscriptions and discount offers, she would be able to attract the customers. So, this would be a correct course of action. Fourth one is keep the business alive by reducing the prices and get back to her job, thereby averting loss. So again, why should she go back to her job when her business is doing good? So this is not a correct course of action. Answer will be that only option number 3 is the correct course of action. So we will mark answer number 3. Okay. Now let us come to type 4, that is statement and conclusion. So a statement is given to us and we have to tell which of the conclusions can be derived from that statement. Now the direction is a statement is given followed by two inferences 1 and 2. Inferences can also be called conclusions. Okay. You have to consider the statements to be true even if it seems to be at variance from commonly known facts. You have to decide which of the given inferences, if any, follow from the given statement. So what is the statement? The statement is this benchmark. So we are talking about a particular benchmark. Okay. This benchmark is increasingly applied in choosing who will be hired and who will not, who will be let go, who retained, who passed over, and who promoted. So there is a particular benchmark we are talking about. Okay. And this is in an office environment because we are talking about hiring. So there is a benchmark and people have to probably cross it to be hired and to be let go, to be retained. All these things will be done based on this benchmark. Okay, let us look at the conclusions. First conclusion says the benchmark is an integral part of the employee management policy of an organization. Definitely we can conclude this. See, based on this benchmark, we were hiring people, we were letting go of people, they were being promoted. Therefore, it will be an integral part, right? It will be an integral part. So this is a correct conclusion. Second one says those who are not hired do not make it to the benchmark. Definitely, benchmark is there. Why do we call it a benchmark? Because only after crossing this threshold we would be hired. So this is also a correct conclusion. Answer will be both 1 and 2 follow. Both 1 and 2 follow. Okay. Question number 2. Radio interferometry is a technique for studying details of celestial objects. So celestial objects means objects that are in space, that combines signal intercepted by widely spaced radio telescopes. Okay, this technique requires ultra precise timing, exact knowledge of the locations of the telescopes, and sophisticated computer programs. So to use this particular technique, we require ultra precise timing, we require the locations of the telescope and the sophisticated computer programs. The successful interferometric linking of an Earth-based radio telescope with a radio telescope on an orbiting satellite was therefore a significant technological accomplishment. So this happened. We were able to successfully link an Earth-based radio telescope with a radio telescope of an orbiting satellite. So this information is given in the statement. Now let us look at the correct inference or the correct conclusion. First one says special care was taken in the launching of the satellite so that the calculations of its orbit would be facilitated. This is not a correct conclusion because we are not talking about the launching of the satellite. We are not talking about the launching of the satellite. So this is in no relation with the original statement. Okay. Second one says the location of an orbiting satellite relative to location on Earth can be well enough known for interferometric purposes. This will be the correct conclusion because only after we will able to find the location, because in the previous slide if I see we were talking about finding the location, right? And we were talking about linking the Earth based and the orbiting satellite, right? So only after we have found the location this can happen, right? So conclusion number 2 will be correct because the location was well enough known for us, right? Third one says the resolution of detail achieved by the satellite system is inferior. Again, we are not worried about the resolution. This is in no reference in the statement, so this cannot be concluded. Fourth one says the signals received on the satellite are stronger than those received by a terrestrial. Again, this is in no relation with the original statement. Therefore, option number 2 will be the only correct answer. Okay, option number 2 will be the correct answer. Question number 3. Question number 3 says artificial intelligence replicates the actions and decisions of humans without any interferences like emotions, feelings, etc. Okay, so we are talking about AI. It is not only enhances the performances and outcomes of any production, but improves the consumption quality and quantity. So again, this is also true about artificial intelligence. The advances in technology are mainly to provide comforts in life. So, this is a small paragraph given on artificial intelligence that talks in favor of artificial intelligence. So, this paragraph talks for favor of AI. Okay, now we have to look at the conclusions. First conclusion is artificial intelligence replicates the actions of humans and takes their own decision. Definitely, this is given in the first statement itself. So, this is a correct conclusion. Second one says artificial intelligence has no emotion, feelings, etc. Obviously, this was also mentioned in the statement, so this is a correct conclusion. Third one says artificial intelligence enhances the performances and outcomes of any production. So, this was also mentioned in the statement, therefore, this is also correct. Fourth one says all of the above. Since all these three are correct, answer will be option number 4, all of the above. Okay? Answer will be option number 4, all of the above. Question number 4. Question number 4 statement is given. Statement says, my first and foremost task is to beautify this city. If city X and Y can do it, why can't we do it? This was a statement by Municipal Commissioner of City Z after taking over charge. So, Municipal Commissioner of City Z said that my first task would be to beautify city Z, and if city X and Y can do it, why can't we do it? This was his first statement. Okay? Now, let us look at the conclusions. The first conclusion is that the people of city Z are not aware about the present state of ugliness of the city. Definitely this is exaggerated. This is not correct conclusion. This is a exaggerated statement. This is a exaggerated statement. This is in no relevance with the original statement. So this is an exaggerated statement. It is not mentioned that the city is ugly. If you are beautifying something, does not mean that it is ugly. If something is good, you can make it better, right? But it does not mean that it is bad. So this is an exaggerated statement. Second one is the present commissioner has worked in city X and Y and has good experience of beautifying cities. Again, this is also irrelevant, because even if you have not worked in X and Y, they are just used for comparison. Does not mean that you have served tenure in that particular city as well. So both of these conclusions will not follow. So if I look at the options, option number 4 will be the correct answer, that neither 1 nor 2 follows. Okay? Option number 4 will be the correct answer. Now, question number 5. Question number 5 statement is given to us. Applications of applicants who do not fulfill eligibility criteria or who do not submit applications before last date will be summarily rejected and will not be called for the written test. So this is given to us that applications first, if you do not fulfill the eligibility criteria or you do not fill the application form or submit the application form before the last date, then your application would be rejected. Then your application would be rejected, and after rejection you will not be called for written test. This is given in the statement. Okay, first one says those who are called for the written test are those who fulfill eligibility criteria and have submitted their applications before last date. Definitely this can be concluded, because it is straight up mentioned that if any of these two conditions are not satisfied, you will not be called for written test. So that means people who have been called for written test, they satisfy these two conditions. So first one can definitely be concluded. Second one says written test will be held only after scrutiny of applications. This is also true, because see, sitting in a written test is depending on these two things, right? And if these two things are eligible, these two things are correct, then only you will be able to give a written test. So definitely the applications are being scrutinized. So both the conclusions will follow. So if you look at options, option number 4 will be the correct answer, that both 1 and 2 will follow. Both 1 and 2 will follow. This will be the correct answer. So this concludes today's lecture. Thank you.